So hello friends, recently in the previous video we have discussed this Dicer, Mir gene and all that. By the way, I remember this is where we start the paraneoplastic syndrome and some cancer markers. Before going into that, I want to discuss something. I have forgotten to mention something about UV radiation. UV radiation. So guys, this UV radiation is it has been seen that UV radiation is able to cause carcinogen. It's a carcinogen, isn't it? Radiation. So basically, we have three types of UV. We have UVA, we have UVB, and we have UVC. The wavelength of UVA is around 320 to 400 nanometers. 320 to 400 nanometers. The UVB wavelength is uh, 280 to 320 nanometers, and UVC has 200 to 280 nanometer. The beauty is that this UVC gets filtered by ozone. Your ozone layer filters this UVC. And who is the most carcinogenic? It is UVB. Important question. UVB is the most carcinogenic. Okay. And this UV rays, what they do is they produce thymine dimers. When they come, they produce thymine dimers. So thymine dimers or pyrimidine dimers. Okay. And this is causing that skin cancer. Clear? Clear, guys? So remember, before bad, it's bad. Okay. So which leukemia is not associated with radiation exposure? It's CLL. So CLL is the only leukemia which is not associated, with ionizing radiation exposure. By the way, which is the most common cancer caused by the this UV light? It is basal cell carcinoma, isn't it? So BCC, basal cell carcinoma. These are some points you should write. Okay. And what about the ionizing radiations? This was about UV radiation. What about ionizing radiations? Guys, ionizing radiations, you have X-ray, which you see regularly as an investigation in the hospitals. X-ray, gamma rays, okay, gamma rays and what? Alpha rays, produced alpha particles and beta particles, okay. So the stage of the cell cycle which is sensitive to this ionizing radiation is G2 stage. Please important. G2 stage of the cell cycle is sensitive to the ionizing radiation. Once an ionizing radiation, once a cell gets exposed to an ionizing radiation, all the cross-linking and chains will break. So nucleic acid will break. Nucleic acid will break, will cause cancer. Simply to remember. Which is the most common cancer caused by this ionizing radiation? Papillary thyroid. Isn't it? Papillary thyroid cancer and leukemia. But which is not caused? CLL. CLL is not caused by this. Okay. Now I taught you in the beginning there were some carcinomas which were caused by lung cancer, was caused by the people who were mining uranium. So uranium miners. They have lung carcinoma. Okay. Clear? So this was some point which I forgot to mention with you. Okay. Now let me take you towards the paraneoplastic syndromes. Okay. Paraneoplastic syndrome. So let us write paraneoplastic syndromes. Basically, it is a clinical paraneoplastic syndromes. Some people are confused about this paraneoplastic syndromes, keep on asking me every day. I think since my teaching, I have encountered this topic a lot of times from the students. Sir, what is the paraneoplastic syndrome? What is paraneoplastic syndrome? Okay. Basically, paraneoplastic syndrome is a clinical manifestation of a neoplasia. That is, it is a symptom which you can't explain by tumor spread or the hormones which are released indigenous to that tumor. I will repeat again for you. Paraneoplastic syndromes are those syndromes. Paraneoplastic syndromes are those syndromes which are, they are not indigenous to the tumor. So you can't explain these syndromes by tumor spread or release of the hormones. Okay, you can't explain them. Okay, so see, what is paraneoplastic syndrome? You can write, I can write for you. Okay, let me write for you. These are some symptoms which cannot be explained by tumor spread or release of hormones that are indigenous to the tumor. Like in short, the story is about um, distant effects of a tumor that are unrelated to metastasis. So distant, you can also speak like this, or distant effects. So these are those effects which you can't demonstrate by that it is related to a metastasis. So if tumor is doing an effect, but you are not able to relate it to the metastasis. Are we able to understand? So distant effects of tumor. I will be giving some examples which are unrelated to metastasis. Metastasis. Okay. Now this paraneoplastic syndromes can be, we can categorize them for our for our convenience. They can be endocrinopathies. So if I take paraneoplastic syndromes, so I can put it like this. They can be endocrinopathies. Guys, my battery is down of the phone. So if anytime it stops, you can't reply me, okay? Okay, guys? So endocrinopathies. They can be nerve muscle syndromes. They can be nerve muscle syndromes. They can be dermatologic conditions. Dermatologic, that is skin conditions. And they can be osseous changes. They can be articular changes. They can be soft tissue changes. Like I will give you example. The syndrome is like endocrinopathy. The best which comes in my mind right now first is the hypercalcemia. See, hypercalcemia, you will attribute something that maybe there is a problem with parathyroid gland. Ideally, you should be thinking like that. I'm making you understand the paraneoplastic syndrome. But we are saying at the definition that we are not relating this syndrome This is actually the distant effect of a tumor, which is not related to the metastasis. It is not related to this. So that means some other thing is producing something which is doing that thing. For example, hypercalcemia should be done ideally in a parathyroid hormone problem. If I have a parathyroid hormone getting high, I will have hypercalcemia because parathyroid hormone increases the serum calcium levels. For instance, I'm talking about calcium right now. Don't try to speak everything. Here I am concerned about calcium. Hypercalcemia should happen, but I am telling it is seen if a patient has squamous cell carcinoma of lung. If someone has squamous cell carcinoma of lung, it has been seen that the mechanism for hypercalcemia is because this tumor is secreting, this squamous cell carcinoma of lung secretes PTHRP. What is PTHRP? It is parathyroid hormone related peptide. It's not same parathyroid hormone, but it is something which is showing some identical protein structure. So that is going to the cells of the bones and trashing the calcium, isn't it? Same, it has been seen hypercalcemia in the breast carcinoma. Are we able to understand the paraneoplastic syndrome? Guys, it's a concern for me. You understand it or not? So breast carcinoma also has this. We have basically there was a name called Subbarao. Subbarao. So I remember Subbarao. Okay, Subbarao. So Subbarao is squamous cell carcinoma of lung, breast carcinoma, R is for renal carcinoma. Hypercalcemia seen in these states. Adult T cell leukemia. Do you remember adult T cell leukemia? Yeah, so adult T cell leukemia. Then we have O. O stands for ovarian carcinoma. So these are the states where able to appreciate the hypercalcemia. Okay. Now, directly landing to hypoglycemia, for example. Hypoglycemia is seen in which paraneoplastic state? It has been seen in fibrosarcoma, hepatocellular carcinoma, HCC, hepatocellular carcinoma. It has been seen that these tumors are secreting insulin or insulin-like substance. Isn't it unrelated? Isn't it unrelated? Normally you understand that pancreas was secreting insulin, but you have tumors which are doing this. Are we clear with this concept, guys? I'm asking it again and again. Yeah. So we have tumors also causing Cushing syndrome. We have tumors causing Cushing syndrome. So Cushing syndrome is a clinical endocrinopathy seen in squamous cell carcinoma of lung again, seen in pancreatic carcinoma, seen in neural tumors. So Cushing syndrome, it has been seen that they are producing ACTH or like peptide. Okay. Or we have another which we can remember, that is syndrome of inappropriate ADH. Syndrome of inappropriate ADH, guys. ADH. That is syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone secretion. It is happening, it has been seen in again squamous cell carcinoma of lung and intracranial neoplasms. Intracranial neoplasms. Okay. What has been seen, they secrete ADH or like peptide or ANH, atrial natriuretic peptides. Okay. By the way, we had a syndrome that was called carcinoid syndrome. Carcinoid syndrome seen in bronchial adenoma, seen in gastric carcinoma. What else can we think? Pancreatic carcinoma. We can see this. What has been seen, what the component, what the mechanism is? It is the serotonin, bradykinin. Okay. Do we remember another polycythemia seen in renal cell carcinoma? So polycythemia. RCC seen in HCC seen in cerebellar hemangioma. Cerebellar hemangioma. The peptide seen is erythropoietin. Erythropoietin, guys. So which of the following is the most common? Which of the following endocrinopathy? This was all about endocrinopathy story. Which of the following endocrinopathy is common? It is the Cushing's. Cushing's is the most common. This will be asked to you. Important thing. Cushing's is the most common endocrinopathy. Okay. Now let us go to what is the next we have written next. No muscle. Yeah, I think we remember this myasthenia. Myasthenia seen in bronchogenic carcinoma. Bronchogenic carcinoma. Okay. We have CNS and PNS impairments. CNS and PNS impairments seen in breast carcinoma. Mechanism we should write for this only immunologic mechanism. Excuse me. Immunologic mechanism. You guys, can also write for myasthenia. You can also write thymic neoplasm. Okay. Now I go to what was the next I written? Dermatology conditions. Dermatology conditions. They are dermatomyositis. Dermatomyositis. Dermatomyositis seen in breast CA, thymic neoplasm. Mechanism, immunologic. Okay. Mechanism is immunologic. Acanthosis nigricans. Next. Acanthosis nigricans. Acanthosis nigricans. Acanthosis nigricans seen in GUL. That is gastric carcinoma, uterine carcinoma, lung carcinoma. What is the mechanism? They secrete some growth factors, epidermal growth factor. Okay. Acanthosis nigricans. Now, if they ask you Eaton-Lambert syndrome, if they ask you in the nerve muscle, Eaton-Lambert, what you will write? Eaton-Lambert syndrome. In the Eaton-Lambert syndrome, you have to write small cell carcinoma of lung. Okay, let us write about osseous. Let us write about osseous changes. Osseous. What did you write osseous? Yeah. So osseous, this under this we will write. So we should write number 1 osseous. Hypertrophic. Osteoarthropathy. Clubbing of fingers. It is seen in bronchogenic carcinoma. Bronchogenic carcinoma. Mechanism is not known. Mechanism is not known, guys. Okay. Let us talk about some venous manifestations. So venous manifestations, if I say venous and hematological. They can be broadly, you can remember two, that is Trousseau phenomena, that is called venous thrombosis. Venous thrombosis and non-bacterial thrombotic endocarditis. Thrombotic endocarditis, guys. So venous thrombosis is called Trousseau phenomenon. Important. Trousseau phenomenon. Trousseau phenomenon is seen in POB, pancreatic cancer, other cancers too, bronchogenic carcinoma. Okay, bronchogenic carcinoma. It has been seen they secrete some mucin-like products, and these mucins actually start the process of clotting. They activate clotting. That's why you can see this Trousseau phenomenon. Trousseau phenomenon. Okay, this is important, guys. Mucin secreting and then activating the these things. Okay. What about non-bacterial thrombotic endocarditis? Non-bacterial thrombotic endocarditis. Let us choose a color like this. Yeah, we will write. It is seen in advanced cancers. And what is the reason for non-bacterial thrombotic? It is because of hypercoagulability of varicose triad. There is hypercoagulability. That is the property of that blood to get coagulated. Okay. So this is the concept which you should see. By the way, who is producing this advanced cancers? Which type? Again, mucin secreting what? Pancreatic and colorectal carcinomas. You will see this in mucus secreting pancreatic and colorectal carcinomas. Okay, colorectal carcinomas. And do you know what we see is that there is sterile vegetations on mitral valve. Sterile vegetations on mitral valve. Mitral valve. By the way, what was the fingers? What was happening on the fingers? Why this was happening? You were seeing a periosteal reaction of distal phalanx. Do you know when I see it, I see a periosteal reaction which I teach you in orthopedics. Periosteal reaction seen in distal phalanx. And that's why I also have clubbings of knee. Okay. Clear, guys? Yeah. So what about anemia? What about anemia in this hematological? So anemia is seen in thymic neoplasms, paraneoplastic syndrome. Mechanism not known. Okay. Clear? Polycythemia seen in cerebral hemangioma, hepatocellular carcinoma, renal cell carcinoma, erythropoietin because of erythropoietin. Okay. Now, what are the other things which can happen? There can be nephrotic syndrome. There can be nephrotic syndrome. Nephrotic syndrome seen in a variety of cancers. Anyone can tell me? Seen in lung, seen in breast, seen in stomach. You see, what do we see? I see, if I can comment on this, what is the mechanism? By the way, it is immune complex formation. Immune complex is the mechanism. And what I see is diffuse membranous glomerulopathy. Diffuse membranous glomerulopathy. This is what we see. Clear? There was a sign in dermatology that was called Lesser-Trillat sign. Can anyone tell me what is Lesser-Trillat sign? Let me write for you. Can you tell me about this sign? Lesser-Trillat sign. Lesser-Trillat sign was seen in seborrheic keratosis. Seborrheic keratosis. And in this, it is seen in which paraneoplastic syndrome? Stomach carcinoma. Stomach carcinoma, guys. Stomach carcinoma. And what is this sign? This sign is basically, you see some pigmented keratosis. You see suddenly numerous amount of pigmented seborrheic keratosis will occur. Numerous pigmented seborrheic. Okay. By the way, I remember from, it was in the, no, it's written in the Pittsburgh dermatology. Okay. So this is also that syndrome which you can see. Okay. What was the difference between this seborrheic and acanthosis nigricans? Acanthosis nigricans is black color, black verrucous lesion. What do we used to call that? Where did I write? Acanthosis. You should write it. What do you see? You see black verrucous lesion. I will show you the diagrams in the next slide chapter. Okay, my slide small that is seen. Okay, this was about hypercalcemia. Now, can we write also some hypocalcemia? Which paraneoplastic syndromes we have hypocalcemia? Yeah, we have hypocalcemia also. So hypocalcemia seen in medullary carcinoma of thyroid. Medullary carcinoma of thyroid. Okay. Have we written hypoglycemia? Yeah. Have we written hypercalcemia? Yeah, we have written hypercalcemia, hypocalcemia. What is remaining? Hyponatremia, isn't it? Hyponatremia, we have already written small cell carcinoma, ADH. I hope you remember the mechanism. Yeah. Can you tell me any lymphoma causing hypercalcemia? Which lymphomas can cause hypercalcemia? Guys, which lymphomas can cause hypercalcemia? There is one thing that's called yes sir or no sir. Which lymphomas can cause hypercalcemia? These are the pathology you have to study. You should have to study one-liners. You have to study pathology in detail. So what is which lymphomas are causing hypercalcemia? Remember, if a malignant lymphoma contains 1-alpha hydroxylase, that malignant lymphoma will cause hypercalcemia. Okay. Can you tell me any tumor which causes gynecomastia? Anyone? Can you tell me a carcinoma causing gynecomastia? I hope you know gynecomastia. Yeah? Yeah. So gynecomastia, it is seen in choriocarcinoma. Choriocarcinoma and seminoma. So which substance they are secreting, by the way? Human chorionic gonadotrophin, HCG. Okay, guys, please read the things. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed this paraneoplastic syndrome topic. So now we take the next, you can check the next video for the tumor markers in pathology. So thank you. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.